communism. It has single-handedly changed history both for the better and for the worse. It has also been the cause of some of the world's most infamous events in the last couple of centuries, ranging from the Russian Revolution to the Cuban Missile Crisis. Despite its notoriety, it has also been extremely influential in structuring today's political system. By analyzing its inner workings, we are given the converse view of some of the world's biggest crises. Let's dive into its origins.
Though many may believe that communism started with Karl Marx, they would be wrong. The actual origin of communism has been debated for years, but historians know that it has been around for centuries. It was actually Marx and his friend Friedrich Engels who popularized it. Marx and Engels, when they met, were socialists and communists respectively. The former studied philosophy in college, while the latter of the two was trained in Berlin military. In the year 1848, the two men collaborated their visions of the perfect communist lifestyle. Together, they created what is known as the Communist Manifesto, which acted as the birth of modern communism.
But what is communism? By definition, communism is a revolutionary socialist movement to create classless, moneyless, and stateless social order structured upon common ownership of the means of production, as well as social, political, and economic ideology that aims at the establishment of social order. Simply put, communism is a system where everyone is equal and everyone shares and reaps off the country's production. When the country thrives, all the people thrive equally.
One of the people that was strongly influenced by Marx's message was Vladimir Lenin. Lenin gained notoriety during the Russian Revolution. He gained attention preaching the change from the abusive lifestyle that most people were used to under the Tsars. His message was bread, peace, and land. Lenin came to power in 1917 and decrees laws that fulfills Marx and Engels' dream of shared land amongst the people. Lenin's health began to fail in May 1922. Lenin dies, ironically, of syphilis in 1924.
Filling the role left by Lenin was Secretary General Joseph Stalin. Stalin gave no hint to his sadistic and paranoid personality and was incredibly subtle when speaking to the public. He had acquired considerable popularity among the party's rank file. Thus, in a secret ballot for the party's Central Committee held in March 1921, he, along with Nicholas Bakunin, had gathered more votes than any other candidate except Lenin, far more than the better-known Trotsky, widely regarded as Lenin's heir. He was ready to resume the drive for communism interrupted in 1921 by the introduction of the NEP. He had three related objectives: to build a powerful industrial base, to collectivize agriculture, and to impose the nation. These three ambitious objectives provoked the crises in the country, which was finally recovering from the turmoils of World War I revolution and Civil War. But this did not trouble Stalin because communism regime thrives on crises.
It was under Stalin that communism gained its infamous name. Under his 30-year rule, Stalin had the blood of over 40 million people on his hands. This was a result of manufactured famines, mass massacres, false imprisonment and expulsion, and many more. It is because of this that the USSR was not popular among the world. This hatred for the ruthless leader morphed into hate for communism itself. This reached its peak right after World War II in a span of decades known as the Cold War. The Cold War was a 46-year-long feud between the two opposing superpowers of the time, the United States and the USSR. One of the reasons for this turmoil was due to the country's opposing belief systems, the United States being capitalist and the USSR being socialist. One would ask, what exactly is the difference between the two? In a socialist economy, the emphasis is on distributing wealth so that all individual needs are met. In a capitalist society, the political system emphasizes competition for resources as a means of increasing capital or wealth, as developing personal success. Though it was not only on economic systems on which the two superpowers differed, they also differed in their political systems. The United States democratic system allows the citizens to vote for changes that they want made in order to choose what is better for them. While in a communist political party, people do not vote, and they are all regulated by the rules that have been previously set in place. During the Cold War, the two powers battled for world domination, but the greater battle was democracy versus communism. This is evident in famous Cold War events such as the Vietnam and Korean Wars, in which the democratic United States intervened in order to prevent the spread of communism in these countries. The United States believed in the domino theory, which was the idea that if they allow one of these countries to fall to communism, the rest of the world would soon follow. This is why they set out to try and place democratic governments in all these countries. Though the two countries' feud did not end on Earth. The countries continued to battle for domination in the intergalactic realm. It was the ultimate sign of superiority to be able to claim space, thus leading to another one of the Cold War's biggest events, the space race. A series of achievements were set in place by both countries, finally culminated by Neil Armstrong landing on the moon in July 1st, 1969. Ultimately, communism failed when the USSR fell in 1991. There are still remnants of communism in the modern world, though, with China still following a somewhat communist path. But what is really to be thought about is what effect communism had on the world. What started as a simple paper written by two intellects led to the creation and destruction of countries, the death of millions of people, and some of the world's biggest advancements in the field of politics and technology. The video you have just watched was a brief history of how communism started. Look around your life today and see how much of your world has been influenced by communism. Communism is a perfect example of how one idea can change the world more than one can think.